I feel like Jen has been the originator of all our funny things on the podcast, or all the things that have stuck.
No.
Yeah, you're the inside joke person.
That was literally all you.
I don't have any other words to say.
At least you
There's
say
short
words.
ones. But when you do, it's so good.
I'm glad it's this ear that's on fire so no one can see.
I was gonna summon that's not that red.
Now it's hot.
It's because you're holding it. You're blanketing it with your.
No, my fingers are freezing. So
Whoa.
some ice in
I
my
can
freezer.
see the red from here,
It's
actually.
red.
Oh, really?
It's from all of
We
it.
get some ice in the freezer.
I have ice.
Your hands are just naturally cold.
That was really good. So much for a wedding diet.
Our diet starts tomorrow.
There it is.
What? We just keep saying tomorrow?
Yep.
Tomorrow.
Until the wedding.
Where
Welcome,
is
everyone.
that from? Oh, great. Hi, guys.
Hey, talking about wedding diets.
And I'm trying to sing, which I can't.
You're trying to sing?
I said tomorrow.
Oh.
Tomorrow.
Oh,
That's me
nice.
singing.
That was good.
Yeah.
Kristen, you sing, right?
Why?
You strike me as someone who sings.
I strike you as someone who
Yeah.
sings? That's an odd thing to say.
It's not that odd. Some
Yeah.
people have that air to them. I'm gonna be on Danny's side today. Some people have that air. Like if you
Yes,
walk
but don't
by
make me
me
sing.
on the street, you're like, that is someone who doesn't sing.
You do sing,
No, all
don't
you
you?
guys laugh
Don't you
'cause you
sing?
know.
Because it kind of is true.
I've never looked at you and thought, you can't sing.
If I walk by Danny's brother on the street, I'm like, that's a guy who sings.
Yep, so true. Even before he had long hair, you might
Yeah,
think that.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
now even
No,
more
do
so.
You
Long
guys
hair.
think this stuff? I don't.
No, I don't know.
Everyone falls into one of two categories.
This is like Guardians of the
because-
Galaxy. Everyone is either a dancer or they don't move at all when there's good
Wait, what's
music.
the comparison of men and women's brains? Ours is spaghetti and yours is like what? Like these
Well, we
little
said New
French
York and
fries or
Paris.
something?
I think that was
That's
that
a
was
good. Yeah,
Yes.
that's actually pretty good.
Yeah. New York and Paris.
Wait, what?
New York is a grid
Oh,
with
got it,
compartments,
got it.
you know? Paris is like a kid scribbled everywhere.
Yes. So that's how they
That's
can
us.
think of this weird stuff because we're busy thinking of more.
Yeah.
More
to answer your
important
question-
things?
I argued with you, but yes, don't make me sing though. Yes.
Right, okay.
I can
I knew it.
carry a tune.
So can Danny.
Nah, not really.
So
I
I
leave
guess
that
it's
to the
John
siblings.
and I that can't sing.
Yeah.
But I feel like you can. I
John
think-
was in Corral, wasn't he?
Oh,
well.
But everyone
that
was in
for-
Corral, granted. It was, it was the highest amount of credits you could take for a class. So
Yeah,
everyone just
packs
joined
a
that.
punch.
Yeah.
Are you alto, soprano? What the heck are those things?
Baritone
Yeah, what's the hot? I don't know.
or tenor?
You said terror.
No, baritone. Yeah, I was a tenor. I think baritone. I wasn't
that
like I
low?
couldn't do tenor because it was too high. I couldn't do bass because it was too low.
Oh. So what's baritone? Middle ground?
Between the two, I think.
Oh.
I think I don't know. That was
Sounds
a long
right.
time ago.
Barely a tone.
There she is again.
Back at it again.
She's here all night.
I love when she cracks herself up too. She's
Because I'm
gone.
thinking of my coworkers are like, you're a comedian, yeah, right?
We love it.
All right.
like
Well, let's jump into it. So we're not here till midnight
Yes.
because there's a lot in these chapters.
I know.
I just want to intro or open up and ask, what do you guys think of Severus Snape?
The ongoing question you've asked us since day
Pretty
one.
much every podcast.
I know.
I think in some ways we could see it coming.
I still don't believe it.
I
Which is
don't.
impossible.
You know what? He still can choose to be good or bad.
I feel
That's
like
the
he
thing.
could be like a double agent.
Because he's still in a position where he's played everything perfectly. But what I don't get is how do both sides legitimately trust him? Do both sides legitimately
I don't know. That's
trust
why I'm
him?
saying he's got like the perfect role.
And wouldn't somebody do one of those unbreakable vows with him for something else to make him be more trustworthy one way or the other? And what happens if you're making unbreakable vows with both people?
But I don't even get what happens with
What?
that.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know.
That's the end of this chapter. What happens with an unbreakable vow?
And we don't even know what happens. We just get the idea it's like a big deal.
But we've always been unsure of him. But then I thought, oh, this is great. Like, they're going to give all the dark secrets to Snape.
Oh, you were still thinking he was good during that chapter?
I still kind of do. I know that's weird because I don't think I believe the Wormtail thing either. So it's just tracking. But
Wait, what do you mean the Wormtail thing?
like, I didn't believe that Wormtail was his story. Like, he was like evil or whatever. Didn't I? I don't know. It's a long time ago now.
I know. It's like almost a year ago.
Huh.
Yeah. What was I saying? Yeah.
You still think he's a little good. Now I'm leaning more evil, 60-40.
Oh, that's fair.
Because Voldemort is so harsh.
The only thing,
and
right?
he trusts him.
But the only thing is that he is really good at legitimacy too.
So you think he was
Snape
hiding his thoughts? He did the thing he did to Harry. Pensieve.
Right. Maybe.
But then what?
And Dumbledore is also really good at it too. So like he was able to get that information from Creature right away, right?
Yeah.
He could play either side. So that's where I guess I want to believe that he's good. But it seems on my heart, my dragon heartstrings are saying that he's good-ish. But
because Jen brings up the great line when she hesitated. I know he believes you, but you think he is mistaken? Or that I have somehow hoodwinked him? Fool the Dark Lord, the greatest wizard, the most accomplished legilimens the world has ever seen.
I think when I read that line, though, that's when I was like, he's faking it. But
because he always has this little twinkle in his eye, like an evil twinkle, which we usually don't like. But it was a little satisfying because we hate Bellatrix more than we hate Snape. I shouldn't say we, but that's how I was feeling.
Yeah.
So the fact that he was getting under her skin made me feel good. Even though I don't like Snape, it was like he's the lesser of four evils in this house during that whole conversation. And I was like, it still felt good that he was like annoying her. And then for a weird reason, I started like feeling good that he was helping Draco for whatever reason. Like it's like Narcissa's begging got to me a little where I was like, it's a mother who cares. Even though she's evil, I still felt for her. So that was weird.
I was surprised that Snape agreed to that though.
Same.
But it was interesting. I might have been merging on the highway, but I was confused in the beginning of the second chapter. I thought it was like a flashback because at first I was like, "Oh wait, Snape's with Wormtail. Like this is before he like came to Hogwarts." And but then obviously with the timeline of as it kept going, I was like, "Oh no, this is like now." But at first I thought it was a little bit of a flashback.
It does have a little bit of a flashback feel to it for sure.
Well, if you're not really paying attention, you're like, wait, this is back in the day before.
Yeah.
And it's two chapters that you don't get from Harry's perspective. So you're almost expecting to get back into his where you're like, maybe this is a flashback of Harry. And then you're like, wait, what the heck is going on? So it takes you a while to get oriented to this chapter even.
Yep. And I thought they were approaching like Harry's house or something when they were like going into a neighborhood. And I was like, oh, what's going on here?
But then Wormtail is there too.
That was weird. Yeah, why?
I don't know.
See there, it makes no sense. And
he's like,
You guys are asking all the questions I'm going to ask.
oh yeah, we'll get to those. Yeah, all right,
Hold
cool.
on, hold your horses.
you can't
What do
do
you
that.
think of Snape?
I answered it.
I'm running the show here.
60% evil, 40% good. But he hasn't made up his mind yet. Everyone trusts him.
You guys are going off. He's pissed off. I'm just drinking.
Kristen's ears are boiling red from the brandy she's drinking.
Burned my nose before. This is going to be fun. Anyway.
So
You'll talk more. That's great.
that's what we're hoping. That's why we brought some of this stuff. Get Kristen to talk a little
Oh
more.
yeah, what are we drinking? No, sorry, that's your job.
In the
go ahead,
intro.
Jen, this is
No,
yours.
Jen, do it.
Jen,
You're asking
Jen.
all the
He's gonna
questions.
yell at you
You're
again.
doing the whole thing. Might as well.
Oh, boy.
What are we drinking, guys?
I don't know.
Fire.
Introduce it to us, John.
This
What
is for Dumbledore because this is what he drinks. you know, the Dursleys weren't drinking their drinks, so
Everyone
we'll drink it. We'll
tap it
bash
to your
into our
head.
head from every
everybody.
side, which is very funny.
That was I was
I-
dying
such a good
laughing
image.
with
I thought
that.
that was amazing.
So yeah, we're drinking mead. 2 types of mead.
You guys are
And
Sorry.
some accidental brandy as well.
It's like fire.
It's good.
Yeah, mead is good.
Yeah.
Sorry for whoever.
And
doesn't like
maybe
that
it's less of
sound.
a big deal in England, but it did feel a little funny that Dumbledore was serving mead to Dudley and Harry.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, they
thought
aren't
the
they
same
minors
thing.
even there?
Yeah.
But maybe in Europe it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
But here, when you're 16, you are definitely underage.
Is it a younger drinking age there?
Yeah, it's 18, in pretty much all of Europe.
Still.
But
Harry's not even, Harry's
But mead's
16.
like honey, so
Yeah.
yeah,
There's,
It's basically like drinking honey.
yeah.
exactly.
There's
That's
a
what
lot
it
of,
tastes
there's a
like.
lot of teen drinking in this book. A lot of teen drinking in this book.
Why?
It's a
JK?
teen drinking book.
that's funny.
Is that what it's known as?
People know this as the teen drinking book.
Yeah, makes sense.
JK.
But we're going to talk about Snape in a bit.
I was scolding her in my mind. Do you want
Guys, don't look at the covers or
don't
the
know if I
backs or anything.
What? This one's good.
No way. You cannot look at that.
She can look at
no
this one.
way. Are you kidding me?
Oh, is that why she keeps hiding
Yeah.
it? Oh, it's that bad.
I keep putting it down.
This one's
All
fine.
of these ones.
This
That's
is
why for the next
absurd.
book, I say we all take the covers off
Yeah.
ahead of
No,
time.
I like it.
I know, but I don't want you
These
to.
are paperback. I can't take it off.
No, not you, but I just mean
Rip
like
it off.
us.
No, would never.
I would harm you. if you
I
did
can't
that.
believe that that's the cover of that.
But I feel like all of these.
Again, it won't like,
A lot
again,
more.
if you don't know what's going on, it's not going to give it away.
Yeah,
but it's
that's
like,
why it's
no, but
fine.
that's like a serious thing.
But it helps. It helps things click even
Yeah.
in the chapter as you
Yep.
read. Once you start to see, then you're like, oh, "That's what the cover's about,"
Yeah.
and then it helps it dawn a few seconds early.
Sorry, you'll be able to see the cover in like 4 months.
the end.
He didn't look at me. I gave him an eye.
Nice.
I get that. Probably about,
That's
you're
fair.
probably on the right timeline right there.
I know I am.
All right, well, let's jump into some more questions. Welcome to the podcast. I'm John,
Jen.
Danny.
And Kristen.
and this is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. I'm sure that you guys are all skipping this part. And you're probably sick of me giving this intro every single time, and you probably just skip like 30 seconds ahead to the actual podcast. But I'm just going to give it anyway because this is what, I mean, everyone kind of does this. I'm just plugging everything that we have. So here's a few things that we have. Our Reddit, our subreddit, r/first time readers. Go check it out. It's kind of fun. We were talking about theories. There's a lot of people in there who never used Reddit before and are navigating it perfectly. So go check that out. Go check out our YouTube channel. It's First Time Readers. That's the handle. We have a Twitter. We're barely using that. I always say this in every like 10 podcasts. I'm like, we're starting to use it more. And then we don't. It kind of fizzles, but I'm trying to use it more. I don't have that much of a desire to do it, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Also, we have a Patreon. If you want to just support this, we have a few extra little bits of content going up there. Not a ton, but a little bit if you want some extra little tidbits of some behind the scenes action, all that kind of stuff. And then what else do we have? We have some merch coming out. We have our designer, Zachary Rupert. He's going to make some of the Hogwarts houses for us. So we're probably going to start selling some of that stuff pretty soon. We're very excited about that. So maybe some t-shirts, some socks, all that kind of fun stuff. We have our website where that's like their central hub for everything, but it's just kind of showing where the podcasts are. Go rate us and review us. I feel like I'm missing everything anytime I do one of these, but that's all I got. I can't wait to keep going in this book. I am so freaking excited to keep reading this book and getting Jen and Danny's perspective on it. This podcast was one of my favorites. Their theories were unbelievable, incredible, out of this world. Some were very outlandish, and it's just so good. It's so stinking good. So enjoy this podcast on chapters 2 and 3 of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Bring the whole bottle in here.
Oh boy, don't.
Who's working tomorrow? No one. You are.
I am. Are you guys off?
No, I'm joking.
Oh,
I was like, I have
Let's
a 10
take
hour.
off.
I have a 10-hour day tomorrow. So.
oof.
Well,
all of our
tomorrow you're going to.
alcohol. We look like alcoholics now, but
We're just advertising.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Some of this mead is really low alcohol.
Yeah. Come on. It's like
It's like 4% or something. What is this?
It's 8% and 14.
8 and 14. Yeah, like I said, like nothing.
8 and 4.
For you guys.
Whatever. He's got high tolerance.
Yeah, why am I drinking this?
You have like a
What is
sip.
this? 40%?
she has a lot of it too. Anyway, okay, this chapter 2, Spinner's End.
Crap it.
I have so many questions over this chapter, so I want to move. Someone give me a summary for this chapter, Spinner's End.
Oh boy.
One of those.
So this chapter is the one where we see the sisters, Narissa, Narcissa, and Bellatrix. There we go.
Narissa. We need to just keep calling her Narissa.
I wrote Snape is evil! ! Narcissa and Bella went to Snape's creepy house. He lives with Wormtail at the moment. It seems like it's Snape's place. And at the end of the chapter, we find out that Draco has to kill somebody. But Narcissa begs Snape to help him. And then at the end, Snape and Narcissa make an unbreakable vow.
Beautiful.
And there's a lot of mystery still about the details. But yeah, that's what happens this chapter.
Notes still. It's so
Yeah,
crazy.
it's going a little overboard. I was taking notes like a madman for this one.
It's literally
Well, this
like
is a note
text.
chapter.
Yeah. So many questions.
I
There's
just
so many
listened to
questions in here.
Like one of my questions, why was the second pop louder than the first? Can you,
my goodness.
when you apparate, is there something you could do to make a louder pop? Or does it have to do with like, what? Why? Yeah, I don't get it. Yeah, I mean,
You gotta say this out loud.
so
You have a
anyways,
bigger
yeah.
behind. It's a.
Okay, yeah. Based on,
Oh, that's good. I never thought of that.
that's
Flat,
fair.
it's gonna be.
It's purely just the mass of the
quieter.
person.
If you got a little bubble,
The
it's gonna.
small pop, big pop.
Oh, there comes the butts again.
It always comes back to butts
The
somehow.
butt couch over there. Wow, we're going off the rails today.
No, this isn't the butt couch. If Jen was on this couch,
Oh,
it'd be the butt
so
couch.
true. Jen, it does always bring it up.
It's you two. It's you two. So Jen's really the one obsessed with this.
Yep.
So how big your butt is, it depends on how loud your pop is.
I
When you
didn't
come
even
to
hear that
Pop
whole
it,
thing.
lock it, drop it.
Okay, this chapter starts off. The harsh cry startled the fox. The harsh cry startles the fox, now crouching almost flat in the undergrowth. It leapt from its hiding place and up the bank. Wes. There was a flash of green light, a yelp, and the fox fell back to the ground, dead.
John, you died.
My Patronus.
No.
I was so devastated at that. And they go, "He lives here?" asked Bella in a voice of contempt. "Here in this muggle dunghill? We must be the first of our kind to ever set foot." So, what are they doing here? Why does Snape live here? Teacher salary?
I don't think it's his primary residence.
Okay. This is a summer home?
Summer home. But I don't know why he's there. It doesn't really make sense. But it's creepy. And I think this book touches on it a little bit. And we've discussed how like the energy of a place can sometimes contribute to more tangible things in the wizard world. So maybe he can actually do more in this place. Maybe he's trying to do magical things. Maybe the whole abandoned mill is his secret potion factory. And it only looks like an abandoned mill because of a charm he put on it. Lots of options. But I don't think of Snape. Maybe I don't know him well enough. I don't think of him as someone who would live with chairs that are broken and dust everywhere.
Why? He doesn't wash his hair.
Yeah, but that's just hair. That's different. I think of a potions person as being a chemist. And maybe that's why, but I don't know that many chemists. But all the chemists I know are pretty like organized and precise. So I'm feeling like he would live in a place that is relatively organized and precise. Like it's a lab.
It doesn't feel organized and precise to you inside? Maybe the outside is dilapidated,
You know,
but to
it
me,
didn't.
the inside did.
I think it was because they made fun of whatever they were sitting on, like the couch or the coffee table or something. They were like, it was being described as like falling apart or old, or like the place looked uninhabited. So it just gave me the impression that it matched the ugly exterior as well. But maybe that's on me.
I like how
I
it's
don't know.
lined with books.
That I did
I
like.
feel like you were into that.
That was interesting.
Even like the door open and it was like half the bookshelf.
And that
That's
actually
cool.
surprised me.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was a reader. Thought Snape was one of us. Non-reader, you know?
No, he's over here.
So if you don't think this is where
It's
Snape
literally
is
couch
living, why do you think he's here? What is the point of being at Spinner's End?
I
right here?
thought of it being something that Voldemort commanded, like that they both go there. Like, Wormtail, Snape, you have to do something together. Go to like this place. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know. But that was the impression I got, that they were both
Like
over
a
there.
Stakeout.
That would be great. Yeah, could be. Although for what? I don't know. Because it just feels like a weird environment. Has Snape been here other summers every year in between school years? It's possible. Maybe even if it isn't his home, maybe his house is literally right next door.
Do you think
I
like
don't know.
the Narcissa and Bella, do you think they grew up rich?
Yeah.
Do you think Snape grew up rich? Does he have that feel?
No, I don't think so. Because he was an orphan.
Yeah.
So even if he came from a rich family, he was in homes.
He was an orphan. Where are you getting that?
I think when we did one of the flashbacks, like early on, and actually, am I
that
just
was
confusing
Tom
him with Tom Riddle? Wow, I think I am.
I think so.
Maybe Snape's not an orphan. He gives me orphan vibes, or maybe just because that chapter with Tom Riddle, I literally thought was Snape the whole time I was reading it until we knew who it was. Yeah, maybe Snape's not an orphan.
Danny's gonna have to reread the whole series real quick.
Yeah, like, I want to go back and figure it out. Why did I think that? I think of him as being, no, that was Tom, wasn't it? Nothing with Snape. I just get the impression he doesn't have a lot of love in his life. Because he is so bitter. So maybe I think of him as being very similar to Voldemort. So I'm not sure if I pulled that from anything specific. But yeah, he does not strike me as someone who has family in the picture for any reason. And I feel like that's part of the reason Dumbledore took him under his wing. So yeah, not sure.
Yeah, like Jen, what do you think they're doing here? Why are they in this little spot? We know that we know that Narcissa and Bella are there because Narcissa wants to go talk to Snape, but why is Snape and Wormtail here? Is this just like where Snape goes for summer vacation?
I don't know, because it's weird that Wormtail is there too. I'm like, I feel like the Dark Lord just like, I forgot what I was gonna say.
I feel like he stationed them there for something.
He like got rid of him quickly. What's the word I want for that? Wormtail, like, you did your job and now
He doesn't
leave me.
actually need him anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, disposable. That's the word I
Yeah.
wanted. It took me a while, and I don't know if Snape's in charge of something like the next plot. So Wormtail is just like the sidekick that has to help with all these next step projects or attacks.
Because what is Wormtail helping Snape
But
with?
this is during the summer, right? This is where we're at. The
Yep.
summer.
It seems like it, yeah.
Yeah, it does seem like a. So Snape would be home.
It technically could be a flashback. We don't really know that yet. But from this point, you're kind of assuming this is
Yeah.
just happening in the present moment.
Because we know it has to be relatively present only because of Lucius going to jail.
Yeah.
But he could have gotten to jail before, could he?
That's actually
Yeah.
true.
Because I
Like
was
before he got dismissed
curious,
the first time.
Where
yeah.
is jail? All of the Dementors are not there. I didn't think a jail existed.
I think it still could. Hermione created her own personal jail in a jar. So I think they could come up with something, but that's a good point. It doesn't
What
have
if
to
it
be
isn't
Azkaban.
present time, like I was thinking at first?
If it isn't present time?
Yeah.
So you're saying the first time Voldemort was rising?
Bellatrix is,
Well, here's the reason it couldn't be, Draco's old enough to do something. So it can't be all the way back there.
Okay.
Draco has to be of independent mind to take action. So it would have to be in the last few years. Yeah, no, it has to be between the end of the book because they talked about what happened in with the prophecy and everything. So it really has to be from the end of the book
That's true.
to it's sometime in the summer.
Payback.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be a perfect timeline, but honestly, by the end of the chapter, the specifics don't seem to matter unless we find out later what they were doing here. Like, where's the Order of the Phoenix right now?
And,
Do they have their headquarters in this mill and they're on a stakeout trying to spy on the Order?
And what is Wormtail? Again, maybe one of the biggest questions for this is what is Wormtail actually helping Snape with?
He doesn't seem that good at stuff.
Yeah.
But he's better than most people at becoming a rat.
won't
So
let
that's
people-
something.
Snape wouldn't let him listen in on their conversation, so he is on the outs. Still.
Yeah. He's not respected. Yeah, what can Wormtail do?
But he's got that cool hand now, the arm.
Does the cool hand give him power that's helpful?
It's probably more.
Maybe.
It's probably more loyal than he is, or not loyal.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So we get this line. And this is kind of the intro for it. Some of the street lamps were broken. The two women were running between patches of light and deep darkness. The pursuer caught up with her prey just as she turned another corner, this time succeeding in catching hold of her arm and swinging her round so that they faced each other. Sissy, you must not do this. You can't trust him. The Dark Lord trusts him, doesn't he? The Dark Lord is, I believe, mistaken, Bella panted. And her eyes gleamed momentarily under her hood as she looked around to check that they were indeed alone. In any case, we were told not to speak of the plan to anyone. This is a betrayal of the Dark Lords. Let's go, Bella, snarled Narcissa, and she drew a wand from beneath her cloak, holding it threateningly in the other's face. Bella merely laughed. Sissy, your own sister? You wouldn't. There's nothing I wouldn't do anymore, Narcissa breathed, a note of hysteria in her voice. So you mentioned this before too, Danny, but what do you think the comparison is between, and this may be a weird one, but what do you think the comparison is between Lily and James, or Lily and Harry, and Narcissa and Draco?
That is interesting.
Because you mentioned like this is a mother's love. You don't want to get in, this is like a mother trying to like defend her son here.
She's willing to betray the Dark Lord. And I bet before she had kids, she would never imagine that. So it's just interesting that it feels like a mother's love goes beyond everything else at this point, which is what happened to, I guess, between Lily and Harry. And that's why Harry survived, because of how powerful that love is. And that's what's causing this. It feels like Narcissa would be loyal in every other way until Voldemort, threatened the safety of her son. So I don't know. It's interesting.
But isn't it that theme from the other book that was like, wasn't it with Tom Riddle or the Dark Lord? And it was the last book, right? With the love that like Harry loved like his friends or family, and
That's the difference.
he let go of him.
Yeah.
So I wonder if
yeah.
the Death Eaters start having that feeling or emotions, would that outweigh his power?
Like it might actually impact his power.
Like Trolls.
What?
We watched Trolls.
Oh, the
And
movie.
The movie.
Yeah, my godson
Trolls.
loves
Sorry.
that movie. He watches it all the
Not-
time, like every day.
I forgot
Great
there's
movie,
trolls
honestly.
in here too. Or no, they're giants. Sorry.
But, similar.
Yeah, they want to eat the trolls, so they're happy. But they can actually be happy on their own. So that's all he needs. He needs to eat a troll.
Goodness. But it is interesting just because it brings us back to, what does Voldemort want? And why do people follow him? And ultimately, at a certain point, people are forced to choose. And Bellatrix here is saying at some point, she makes a comment, about like if she had kids, I forget what she says, but like she would be honored to like sacrifice them for the Dark Lord. Very easy to say when you don't actually have kids. Yeah. I don't think that would be true. I bet Narcissa would have said something similar before she had Draco. But then all of a sudden everything changes and it's just an interesting position. And the fact that Snape also was willing to kind of go there with her and like protect Draco like a little bit. The whole thing was a little confusing. Just because there's a lot going on.
But with Snape, though, he's around kids all the time. I feel like now it's like a little bit, maybe it is different for him, which is why it was easier for him to do the unbreakable curse, which I don't even understand what that is.
Yeah. And he actually, it seems like he really does like Draco. Like there's an actual like bit of a bond there. Like he's protective of him and also sees the danger. And it almost like was like he was already made up in his own mind to protect Draco.
But what if he's doing this unbreakable curse? Because we don't really know what it is, right?
Yeah.
So if he is actually good, it would be so easy to do this unbreakable curse because you want to get the Dark Lord. You're not going to put Draco in danger. You're going to like protect him in a way of protecting Harry and the good side.
Wait, he's going to protect Draco as a way of protecting Harry and the good side?
What I'm trying to say is that I feel like it's easier to do this kind of deal with his mom.
If he's
Draco's
good?
mom. If he's good.
Well, this brings up the question, who does Snape plan on killing? Because what the Dark Lord is asking Draco to do is kill somebody, right?
Harry.
Where are you getting that?
Well, it was implied that he was like,
I read it too.
It's like a dark deed. Yeah. So basically, let me see.
Or is it
Elf-made
Dumbledore?
wine.
Could it be Dumbledore? I don't know. It's to kill someone. So
I
either
don't think it's
Harry
Harry
or
or Dumbledore because
you don't?
no, because the thing is, they were asking Draco to do it. Then Narcissa says, if he can't do it, Snape, you need to step in and do this. Almost like it would be very difficult for Draco to do it and could get him killed, but it would be easy for Snape to do it. So it left me thinking it's someone more powerful than Draco, less powerful than Snape. And I don't know if Narcissa views Harry as more powerful than Draco. So I almost, as a mom, I assume she views Draco as like a better wizard than his peers. So I was thinking this must be another teacher, someone who is, we're led to believe it's Harry. I think that's how we're supposed to read this chapter. So at the end, we're like, oh no, Harry's going to get killed. But then I just don't think it's going to be him. So I think in the end, it has to be some other teacher like McGonagall or someone like else that we like, who then the goal is to kill them and we don't really know why they would need to die. But yeah, I'm going to try and find where that came from.
Yeah, and we'll get to those too, because that's kind of the end of this with the unbreakable vow, with everything they were saying, because that's some confusing stuff.
We keep wanting to go there.
I know. I do. I want to talk about that, but I also want to talk about whether Snape is good or not, because there's a lot of these questions that come up, and I just want to read this longer line for you.
Read it.
She's like, fine.
All right, fine. I'll read this. Narcissa, I think we ought to hear what Bellatrix is bursting to say. It will save tedious interruptions. Well, continue, Bellatrix, said Snape. Why is it that you do not trust me? 100 reasons, she said loudly, striding out from behind the sofa to slam her glasses upon the table. Where to start? Where were you when the Dark Lord fell? Why did you never make any attempts to find him when he vanished? What have you been doing all these years that you've lived in Dumbledore's pocket? Why did you stop the Dark Lord from procuring the Philosopher's Stone or the Sorcerer's Stone? I'm reading also from the British version, so just beware. That's I can copy paste some of that online easier. Why did you not return at once when the Dark Lord was reborn? Where were you a few weeks ago when we battled to retrieve the prophecy from the Dark Lord? And why, Snape, is Harry Potter still alive when you have had him at your mercy for 5 years? She paused, her chest rising and falling rapidly, the color high in her cheeks. Behind her, Narcissa sat motionless, her face still hidden in her hands. Snape smiled. Before I answer you, oh yes, Bellatrix, I am going to answer. You can carry my words back to others who whispered behind my back, and carry false tales of my treachery to the Dark Lord. Before I answer you, I say, let me ask a question in turn. Do you really think that the Dark Lord has not asked me each and every one of those questions? And do you really think that, had I not been able to give satisfactory answers, I would be sitting here talking to you? She hesitated. I know he believes you, but you think he is mistaken, or that I have somehow hoodwinked him, fooled the Dark Lord, the greatest wizard, the most accomplished legilimens the world has ever seen?
The most accomplished
I know, okay.
the whole world has ever seen?
I know. So who's right?
I feel like he could just be saying that. Remember, like Crouch Jr. was saying
What was he saying?
similar things to Harry about like, oh, you'd be
like
a great
almost taunting?
or yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what it felt like to me. It's partly because I don't want to believe he's.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Again, because we haven't seen him do anything that evil yet.
And he could also be real. What if Snape is the greatest accomplished one, and he's just saying, "Yeah, he's the
saying you're
greatest
like, yeah, he's the best,"
accomplished
even though
one,
Snape's really better.
Even though I'm better than you.
He's being like a little humble brag right there.
Yeah.
Or just
Well, I haven't
straight
heard that
humility.
word in a long time.
And here is a note too about why the pop is louder. Maybe it isn't butt stuff because it goes, she paused, her chest rising and falling rapidly, the color high in her cheeks. Sorry. You guys were mentioning before when I read that line, and it's the immaturity of me, the cheeks.
I didn't get it at first.
So it's like thinking of the face cheeks. Come on, obviously.
Right.
And then he laughed, and I still didn't get it. Now I get it. High in the cheeks. Nice.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So again, is Snape fooling Voldemort, or is he fooling Dumbledore?
Great question.
I
that
feel like he's
what it
fooling
boils down
both of
to?
them right now.
He's going to be his own.
No, I think he ultimately will choose, but I'm not convinced he's chosen yet. He's playing the sides maybe a little to just see who's gonna win, and that's why he's being
is he
flaky
getting
on
out of
both
it?
ends. Well, he just doesn't want to be dead, I
Okay,
guess.
that's a great question, Jen. What is he getting out of this from lying on both sides?
I have no idea because he doesn't have anyone.
It comes off like he's a bit of a coward, because when Voldemort fell, he stayed stationed at Hogwarts where he was, and then became boys with Dumbledore, and then he comes back and somehow is able to like maintain that he was like loyal that whole time, and then he's convinced Voldemort and Dumbledore, the opposing forces here, that he's on their side. So that reminds me of Wormtail, like in just that he can just play the field. He just kind of goes out there. He's doing whatever he needs to survive. It's the only thing we can gather.
No, but Wormtail is different. Wormtail actually needed something to survive. Snape has made
You
a
don't
name
think-
for himself, and I don't think he actually needs anyone. It's just,
You
what
don't think
does
he
he
needs anyone?
want?
What does he want? Any ideas?
And I wish they did more flashback to his childhood. Then maybe I'd have a better idea now.
Yeah, what does Snape actually want? What is the motive? What is the thing that he's looking to get? What's his backstory?
We don't know, John. And I'm mad about that.
Yeah, what is his
Why are
backstory?
you mad about that?
She doesn't have answers.
I want answers. I wish they would have done a more of a flashback in the last book when he's going in his mind, Harry, figuring out what's going on. But he's been a very curious lad because he was following. Yeah, I'm looking at him, so I figured that would be a word Danny would use.
I would. I'm
know.
proud.
Great, we're turning into the same person.
And with this whole thing, what was the chapter that you go into Snape's memory called?
Legitimacy.
No, it was his worst memory.
Oh, the confidence that you said that.
Just because I can say it, it makes me feel good.
Air high five.
It was called Snape's worst memory. Do you think you actually saw his worst memory, or was Harry pulled out before You
we
saw the worst part of that memory.
Yeah, I think he was pulled out. Before.
Pulled out prematurely. That was not it. Yeah, that was for Kristen.
That was for Kristen. But what happened after that memory?
I thought we were going to just throw it in there as like a quick little move on, but no,
There's
impossible.
no way. That was too good.
Full run. Wow, this is mead. Yay.
Brandy, you mean?
Well, both. Yeah. Yeah, I think that we did not get the full picture. Nothing about that seemed to be the worst. No, I shouldn't say nothing. That was bad. That was a bad memory.
But maybe that was a turning point for something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
we
or
don't
we
get
missed
the full
context. We missed something.
Timeout. If let's run through two scenarios. Let's say we have the full memory. Let's say that was the full memory. Why would that be his worst memory?
It would have to be a turning point for him, like a deep insecurity already.
Wait, can we just refresh this memory?
Oh, yeah. Good point.
He followed. Is this when he followed
No.
them? This is a different one.
This is different.
When he
Right.
was just
After
minding
finals.
his business.
Yeah.
Well,
and they
So
went
this
to
is-
go pick on him.
He was taking the OWLs.
Yeah.
And he was just kind of walking out, and he was like looking at his notes, making sure he's to check things. And then James, Sirius, Lupin, Wormtail were behind him, and they just picked a fight with him. They flipped him upside down,
and
took his trousers off,
yep,
and
we're hanging him
Yeah.
from there.
yeah. And then, what happens after that? 'Cause
Lily,
I
right?
think Lily steps in.
Yeah, and she's like, take him down or like something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Don't.
Stood
But
up
then-
for him
but
a little
then-
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lily stands up for him. He
But
like
then
shoves
Snape-
Lily.
Said something to Lily, right? To shut her up.
I think, yeah. Does he just say shut up or something like
I
that?
don't remember.
And then I think that's when the memory ends.
Like he wanted to stand up for himself. He didn't want like a female to stand up for him.
It definitely,
Or
yeah,
anyone to
yeah.
stand up for him.
It seemed like that was almost like,
Sexist.
Yeah.
yeah. If that was
So-
it, why was that the
But
worst?
then it's like, well, if that was it, then he maybe wants to get back at all four of them: Wormtail, Lupin, Sirius, and James.
It's just
So
that a
how
lot
will
of
be,
that
like, the
felt like it was a
worst?
common occurrence for him. Like the bullying felt
Like,
kind
he's
of
used to
normal.
bullying.
So what about that would make it the worst?
But again, even like Jen just went, how is that the worst? That's a great question. Let's go through the other scenario. Let's say that is not the end of the memory. What happens? Fill in the blanks for what happens right after that. That would become the worst memory.
I feel like there'd have to be some kind of escalation.
His reputation. Or
His
something.
reputation. I feel like he doesn't have a good reputation. I thought he would accidentally, like, because what was the part where he almost died and then James kind of saved
his
him,
life.
if that even counts as saving, if you almost kill somebody.
Which is why I
Was
thought
that
he
all the
was
same
indebted
thing?
to Harry somehow, or James.
Yeah, like to some level. Could this be all part of that same memory though? Like then it was that night when, because we already get the impression, right, that Lupin was nearing werewolf time. So could it have been like then that night where he was going to go off to the shack, and then that's when they tricked Snape to send him down there and change their mind. James went and saved him, whatever. Because that feels worse to me. Life or death situations. Getting saved by the person you hate so much. Maybe.
But then that's like a pride thing too.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, for sure.
is that the worst? I guess the worst. That's not such a bad life if that's your worst memory. But it's pretty bad though.
Well, I also wonder, does he want to be the best at blank? I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And he was studying his notes and stuff. So like maybe he actually has to study, whereas these other people have been
Just naturals.
naturally talented. And he's trying to make up for that. Or maybe he doesn't like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Could-
you just don't know his backstory yet, really.
Yeah. And I'm wondering if Voldemort gets involved somehow, because for it to be his worst memory, it has to be like a major turning point. So I'm wondering if this is somehow what brings him to Voldemort to begin with.
Yeah.
And then if so, that would mean he's mildly regretting the path that brought him to the Death Eater side of things. But he's trapped in it now.
I
Maybe?
am curious. All these Death Eaters, do they have people that they love, like families and stuff? Some of them
A
do,
lot of
I
them.
guess.
Yeah.
Right?
Families for sure. Like we just know Crabbe, Goyle, and Malfoy. You know, those three are all
Or was it like a
legitimate families.
family affair kind of thing? Like, oh, my dad was in it, so I'm in it. And because it seems like some of the Death Eaters, they don't care about people.
That's
They
true.
just want power, and they want
maybe,
what they
yeah.
want, and they want to hurt people that they don't like. So I'm just trying to see where Snape falls into that category.
Yeah, and why does he want what they want? If it's to live forever, is that what they want? Whatever
It seemed
Voldemort's
like it
got.
the one time, right? With Sorcerer's Stone. And he also put pieces of his body everywhere. I don't know. The Dark Lord.
What?
He said he put pieces of him everywhere, and I don't even know how I came back together, but I did. The Dark Lord. When he was like, why are you looking at me like making up a story?
Why did he say that?
He said that in like one of his books. Remember
Like,
when he
when
was
he-
One of
explaining?
these books.
Like, I think that was the beginning of the last one when he was still in worm form, right? Like he was like a little shriveled guy, and he was explaining something. But you're saying pieces of himself.
No, like not actually pieces, but he said he didn't even know what they were, but he was in
He
a
wa-
bunch of different areas.
He was like a spirit, or like a
Yeah,
he was
pieces.
spread around. Like and that's where we.
That's what I said.
Because no, you're right. We were talking about like the diary and stuff. Like he put a part of himself in the diary. That was like his memory, whatever. Is that what you mean?
Sure.
Or well, to be honest, he didn't even know what he was.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm using pieces as like a loose term for like he had a little bit of him everywhere, and then it like came together at
It
some
came
point,
back together.
and he became a snake or something.
He became a snake or something. Naturally.
Honestly, I
I
don't
love
know.
these theories so much. I love these theories so much.
It's so ridiculous.
But yeah, it is worth noting. You don't really know what's going on for his worst memory, so you don't know. Maybe like some of it isn't just the stuff that we
don't know
don't see.
anything.
I know you just don't
And
know.
you won't let me read faster.
But anyway,
A great transition.
again, the question does go back to: is Snape good enough to fool Dumbledore or Voldemort, and who is he fooling? Is he playing them both? Because let's go through some of Snape's.
Or maybe he's just getting back at bullies. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they were both bullies to him in some way. Maybe he's the whole
Wants to
mastermind
outwit
behind this thing.
Everything.
He's the real Dark Lord.
Maybe.
It was Snape in the end.
I don't think so, but sure.
He doesn't
The real-
strike me as good enough to trick both of them. Maybe that's part of why it feels weird. Like, how could he trick both or either of them, frankly? Is he better? Is he a better wizard than either of them? I don't think so.
Do you think he's an able wizard? If you're to make a power ranking of wizards right now, who are the top five?
Dumbledore.
Top three, only three. Top three most powerful.
He wouldn't be in there.
He wouldn't.
No.
Would he be? Would he crack your top five?
No.
Maybe.
Because who would it be? Like Voldemort and Dumbledore are in there, right?
Yeah,
would
Dumbledore
get
first,
third?
of course.
Like Kingsley or Tonks?
They're
Rudy?
good, but no, I
McGonagall?
don't think so.
I know. No, Tonks is a freaking. Don't hate on Tonks.
I'm hating on you. I'm talking.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
It must be somebody we haven't met. Like the people who older is better. That's what I'm thinking as far as these wizards. The people who are doing the OWLs or Nicholas Flamel, like
Yeah, but
people in that
Bellatrix
realm.
seems kind of good too.
Yeah.
She does seem very good.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
she would have been up there.
You think she'd be third?
No, I'm just saying top 5.
Maybe.
I don't know enough about Snape. All I know is he does
Yeah.
potions really well, which maybe is really hard, and a lot of people can't do because they go to him for potions. So
Yeah, it is a tough
he
thing.
could be up there. Maybe he took a polyjuice potion, and he's not really Snape. He's
What the-
Dumbledore.
What the?
Whoa.
That'd be wild. That would be a wild turn of events.
That would be wild.
Let's go through Bellatrix's questions.
They were great questions. I didn't think he would answer them. Like when he
Agreed.
said, okay, like ask, I was shocked. Because
Yeah.
I was like, what are you going to say to that?
Yep.
I thought you're on the good side.
So what was his answer to why didn't he attempt to find the Dark Lord?
He thought he was actually dead.
Is that a satisfactory answer?
Seems
I
like
think
it.
it's like an honest answer.
Yeah.
Except that it seems like Voldemort was farther along the path to immortality than any. So whatever that means, if Snape was in the loop for that plan and he thought it might be a possibility that Voldemort was partially immortal, then he kind of loses that excuse. But it was good enough for Bellatrix, and she was so skeptical that I guess it's a good enough answer. It does kind of explain it. Still feels a little weird though, because he seems like he's in the inner circle, like he's almost not quite the most faithful, but like similar. I don't know.
Should we go back to that? The most
I
faithful.
knew because he always said that. I remembered it in this chapter. I don't think the most faithful one is one.
Well, now I'm
that we
confused.
named.
And so it was most faithful, left forever, and soon will be killed.
Yeah.
Right? Like left forever, never to return, then someone we have to kill, and
But
most
the
faithful.
most faithful, everyone thinks they're the most faithful, which I find so
It's true.
funny.
There are so many people saying that. But at the time, we had our various theories. But now that we know a little bit more, at the time, the most faithful from Voldemort's perspective was Crouch Jr., right? Because he
At
said the
that
most
time.
faithful
But
is
if
at
you were-
Hogwarts. And then he said somebody has left forever and will be killed, Karkaroff. And then, and the coward.
I thought Kokoro was the coward.
But then
ran
which one
away.
was Snape? Snape was the one who left forever?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay. So
the
I forget
Hogwarts thing is
how they
interesting.
worded it.
So
Coward
maybe you are
will
right.
be
It
killed.
was the Hogwarts.
But then
station.
now, I guess it doesn't matter because when Voldemort said that, that's all he knew. He thought Snape was not loyal to him. Snape came back 2 hours later after everything was said and done. So Cedric was already dead. Harry was back. They caught Crouch Jr. Then Snape goes back to him
That's what he said.
on
Why did he
Dumbledore's
do that?
instructions.
So he didn't return when the Dark Mark burned immediately. He returned 2 hours later. Why? What was Snape's explanation for why he returned 2 hours later?
Because it would look suspicious to Dumbledore.
Yeah.
He
So
wanted to keep that loyalty because if he was back, he could still use that as like
Maybe a spy.
a spy thing. Yeah.
But I don't understand the timing. What does 2 hours mean?
I don't think
I
it
know
means
it's
much.
delayed, but like,
Yeah.
what was the 2 hours that was like, hey, it was.
So within that 2 hours, remember the one conversation, and this is like going to flirt between your minds. So there's a conversation where Dumbledore is in the office after book 4, and he's with McGonagall, he's with Hagrid, with Snape, with Harry, and he has like a charging for all of them.
Yep.
And then he tells Hagrid, he said, if you and Maxime are ready, please go. Like I don't think we knew he was going to go see that, but he's like, go do your tasks. And then do you remember what he says to Snape?
It was like a prearranged thing. He didn't say much.
Yeah.
He basically said, go and do the thing we talked about.
Yeah.
And I thought he was going to do something with the Dementors because
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned that.
only because that's what Fudge was failing to do.
but
So
he could have been going to play the Lord Voldemort.
yeah, exactly. So I think I was just wrong about that because what we know is Dumbledore sent him to Voldemort. That's what Snape claims here, that he waited 2 hours and then Dumbledore sent him on a mission to Voldemort as a spy.
So this was the line.
It's implied, right?
Severus, said Dumbledore, turning to Snape, you know what I must ask you to do. If you are ready, if you are prepared. I am, said Snape. He looked slightly paler than usual, and his coal black eyes glittered strangely. Then good luck, said Dumbledore. So there's even a whole side
So
question.
then it seems like he's telling him to go.
But there's a whole different part of that. Why is Snape pale in this moment? Is he pale because he's lying to Dumbledore, saying he's going to go back? Or is he even going back to Voldemort at this point? Is this what they're talking about? Is Dumbledore really meaning go to the Dementors? And he actually ends up going to Voldemort so he can stay in a spy position? You don't know what's happening at all with this, which is
But
why
it
it's
seems
so confusing.
Like if you're I don't know. If you're lying to someone, I don't think you change. He's been lying. Like if he actually is bad, he's been lying to Dumbledore the whole time. So
Yeah.
he wouldn't change all of a sudden his face expression or his coloring because he's nervous about it. He's been lying to him from the get-go. If he is changing color, it seems more so that he's afraid of being in the presence of the Dark Lord.
yeah, I think that could be
And
fair.
probably because he has to lie to him. Or he just doesn't want to see him.
Well, for lying or for telling the truth, he has to convince the Dark Lord that he's still on his side,
Right.
which
But
is
he did
daunting
it.
no matter what.
Right, and that's why I would think
Yeah.
he would change colors.
Yeah, no, that's scary because it seems like even people that are on Voldemort's side are scared of him because he's so cruel. So that's a reason to get a little pale, you know? Dumbledore's orders.
But he could have done the pensieve thing. That would have been don't
To
you
do
think?
what?
To take out memories and then go to Lord Voldemort and say all these things and have gaps that he wouldn't know about.
If you take a memory out,
Because
and
she's
put it in a
really good at
pensieve,
doing that, of like introducing something and then you don't see it for a while and then it comes up again later.
Yeah.
And it
Like
was
a
really
vial
important.
of blood.
Ooh, vial of blood, half blood prince. Yeah, he definitely could hide his memories, but that means they're sitting in a pensieve somewhere, or like that's pretty
At
sketchy.
Hogwarts, though?
I guess, yeah.
He does
in
hide his memories for part of it.
Yeah, because he was hiding his memories from Harry, so we know he's.
does hide his memories.
Why is he talking so weird? Look over at Chipmunk Cheek.
Sorry. A lot of people have made comments that they don't like chewing on
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I'm sorry,
You are
guys.
doing that.
Sometimes we're chewers.
Sometimes we're annoying.
I'll try not to be sipper either.
I forgot what he was saying. I got distracted by his mouth full of banana bread.
Oh man, yeah, I don't know.
You just don't know who he's duping at this point.
Yep, and that's why I think he's duping both of them.
And Jen knows.
I know.
In her head, she knows. But
No,
there's
I'm gonna be wrong.
it flips all the time. Like at this point, you're like, oh, he's answering these questions actually really well. I don't know if he actually could fool Voldemort. Maybe he could fool Dumbledore.
Oh yeah,
Because
that's
there's-
what I was. No, I'm just saying, like he could leave. Why can't Lord Voldemort cannot go into Hogwarts? It seems, or he doesn't want to. So why couldn't he leave his memories in there and then comes back and gets them?
No, he could, but maybe even the whole idea of leaving memories feels weird because if someone was good at legitimacy, couldn't they see the memory of you hiding memories and be like, "What were you doing at that pensieve, pulling all those memories out?" Like even if you don't get the part like before you're putting your wand up, you would get the memory where the wand is actually going down to put the memories
Or
in, right?
he's better than Lord Voldemort, which we said
Right,
too.
but that feels harder to wrap my mind around.
Why?
Snape being the best legilimens the world has ever seen.
He's to himself all the time.
I guess
feel
you're
like he
right.
could
He just
practice
his
a
own
lot.
thoughts. That's fair. If he's living in the past big time, just doing Snape life reruns every night, just trying to like pull memories out and be like, "Yo, look at that! I was so cool in that moment." Or more likely, "Oof, that was so terrible. It was so embarrassing."
Who do you think out of the three, Snape, Dumbledore, Voldemort, who is the best Legilimens and Occlumens? Or, I mean, who is just the best at that art, those things?
Wait, can we? Occlumens is defending,
Yeah.
and
Or,
Legitimens
yeah, Occlumens is
is
shutting your mind off, and Legilimency is like invading someone's mind.
Yeah.
So let's just lump them both together. Who is the best at that? Because whoever is the best at that right now is the person that's coming out of this victorious.
I think
could
of
be Snape.
Voldemort.
So if Voldemort's doing that, then Dumbledore, I mean, there's a huge byline too with like just real life. When you love, you're naive, and Dumbledore's biggest thing is love is the most powerful thing. So maybe he's naive and kind of maybe he has romantic feelings to Snape. I don't know. Maybe he is just like banking on that idea.
Wow.
So he's being naive in the whole idea of
Must
love.
be a theory out
And
there.
Voldemort can actually see straight because he's not he doesn't have. Wow, that was I did not.
Or what
mean that
about
double meaning.
Snape? I feel like I missed that.
So all sorts of this stuff. There's even these other questions. Why didn't Snape fight at the Ministry?
That was weird.
Yeah,
For one side or the other, I don't know why he wasn't there.
I loved his response. So he's like, "Forgive me, you were fighting 6
I know.
Yes,
students."
yes. Great
Like,
response.
Bella, you
And I'm
gotta step up
picturing
your
him in
game.
like the movie saying it, like in his.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bella got so mad.
And then why did Snape not kill Harry Potter? What was his answer? Why has
He
Snape
was
not
curious what he was going to be like because he had some dark characteristics.
Some rumors that he could be a dark wizard.
And again,
then
this-
people would follow Harry
done that? Yeah.
as the next Dark Lord if Voldemort never came back. That's intense.
It makes you think that in this, like, all these questions you kind of go back and forth with, but this one to me, it like is pointing at Snape being bad because he's looking for the next great dark wizard. So because Harry Potter wasn't,
but he's also talking to these two.
yeah, for sure, exactly. So he could be duping him.
So Bellatrix, you have to play into the Dark Lord stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's hamming it up a little bit for sure.
Why? So were Snape's answers satisfying to you?
Yeah. I thought they were pretty good.
They were great answers. They just didn't tell
I was
us much.
finally getting answers.
And then
What? We're getting the most answers we've got.
We're getting a lot of
So-
answers. I just mean as far as whether he's good or bad.
Just more
I'm
questions,
like they
too,
were very
but-
satisfying answers, but they were all evil answers.
So this
and
is
we don't
this
know
is
whether to believe
this
them.
is another line that I think we got to talk about because this is the last question. You are avoiding my last question, Snape. Harry Potter. Oh no, sorry. You are avoiding my last question, Snape. Harry Potter. You could have killed him at any point in the last 5 years. You have not done it. Why? Have you discussed this matter with the Dark Lord? Asked Snape. I am asking you, Snape. If I had murdered Harry Potter, the Dark Lord could not have used his blood to regenerate, making him invincible. Is the Dark Lord... We've never really known that he's invincible up until this point. Is the Dark Lord invincible because he has Harry's blood? So, what does this mean for the prophecy?
I don't think he's
It's
invincible.
changed. The prophecy might have changed, right?
Yeah.
Because now
No,
he
what?
has.
How could the prophecy change?
Because that was
The interpretation of
before. I'm allowed to do whatever I want.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, the prophecy was before...
She's like, I
mean,
changed
it's
it.
prophesying about the Chosen One. We're going to talk about that in a second. But
Yeah.
Now I forgot what I was going to say.
Sorry. Can a prophecy change?
Because the prophecy was made before Voldemort rose to power for the second time. Mm-hmm. So maybe there's something in that the prophecy didn't foretell.
Was it?
was like,
It was also before he died,
yeah,
right? And he was trying to kill that kid.
yeah.
So how could you have known?
Was it before he died?
Yes,
It was. Okay.
because he was
Right before
looking
Harry.
for the kid to kill him. And then that's why I'm saying the prophecy could potentially have not
Oh.
foreseen him like dying and coming back to life.
So you're saying the prophecy might have
because-
just been about when Harry was one, and the prophecy was already fulfilled and Harry won, Voldemort lost, and now he's back. Prophecy
No.
is now gone.
I don't know. Because how could you foresee that he dies, comes back to life with Harry's blood?
It's complicated, that's for sure.
Is she that good? I don't think so. I don't know.
Trelawney. The prophecy said that only one could survive, right?
Which would have happened already with the first one, right?
If that fulfilled it. Yeah, like
Yeah.
could that have fulfilled the prophecy and then it's
But Danny,
gone?
you did say that you don't think that he's invincible. So you think Snape is lying in this instance, that he's not invincible?
Or just leaning into the Dark Lord's things, because I feel like Voldemort is a little bit like, he exaggerates. He doesn't really understand as much as he pretends to understand. And even the whole time in the previous book, or in book 4, we were led to believe that Voldemort could use any one of his enemies, we found out by the end, And Wormtail's like, just use anyone. He could have used Bertha Jorkins, for example. He chose not to. He chose to wait for Harry. We don't know why, but it's implied here that he waited for Harry, potentially because Harry's blood specifically would make him invincible.
Yeah.
But why would he think that?
Yep.
And what I do know is...
Well, he thinks that because of the protection of the mother.
Because he
That was
thinks he's
mentioned,
getting
yeah,
some of
before.
that protection, which just doesn't make sense. Like
okay, yeah.
the mother's protection is on the blood, and then you steal the blood and you just get the
Well,
protection.
we don't know
He doesn't
anything
get
about
the
his
love.
magic.
But that's
It
what
feels-
Dumbledore says to Harry later. He goes, love that runs so deep that it goes into your very skin.
Your very skin.
So,
but,
like, does it
but
go-
Dumbledore's eyes twinkled. Harry saw
Yeah.
something in Dumbledore that looked like
Some
victory.
Yep.
And that makes me think whatever Harry's blood does is not what Voldemort thinks it does. And I don't even know what that means, but enough that it made Dumbledore potentially, although Harry could be a little fallible in this moment, potentially Dumbledore was like, yes, all right, good. Voldemort now is confident, but he shouldn't be. And I don't know why, but I think Dumbledore knows more about this than
Yeah,
Voldemort.
that's like a fair.
Even though I think Voldemort's a better Legilimens. Maybe.
Then Dumbledore.
Yeah, I think so. Possibly.
Maybe.
Okay, is Dumbledore getting weak too? They mentioned that in this chapter.
Ooh, he's getting
His
weak.
oh, that's the next chapter.
Yeah, his hand. We're going to talk about that next chapter.
Yeah, I think he's getting weak.
Well, he said it. Didn't he say in this chapter, right?
Yeah.
That he's gotten weak and he had
Yep.
a long time to recover.
Yeah.
'Cause he's
Says
older.
Dumbledore is growing old. The duel with the Dark Lord last month shook him. He has since sustained a serious injury because his reactions are slower than they once were. But through all those years, he has never stopped trusting Severus Snape, and therein lies my great value to the Dark Lord. So is Dumbledore weak?
Weaker than he was.
Physically.
Does that? Yeah. Mentally, he's still there. He's with it. But does that cause for alarm? Is that like a little weak spot in the wall now?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's not good. That
He's the
did
only
not
one that
make me
was
feel good.
battling. But I feel like maybe this book is where he's going to train Harry.
That'd be awesome.
Dumbledore.
Yeah, even by the end
My
of the next
full
chapter.
theory, that long drawn out one back in the day.
Oh yeah, which one is that?
I don't need to bring it up again. It's so long, and I forget some of it. But basically, Dumbledore was waiting for Harry to train him to take over, to kill Lord Voldemort.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Interesting theory.
whatever
Really interesting
episode
theory.
it is, you can post it on Reddit.
I'll go back through the archives and find that.
I don't remember when that was. Book 2, 3.
I know it really was. You I think you did have that prediction in like book 2 or 3, and I think it was that whatever Dumbledore is doing, everything he's doing is leading up to essentially Harry to take over his job of
Yeah.
trying to what was it? Trying to kill Voldemort, or just take over his job of?
Like he would be the only one that could defeat him because he was
Yeah.
getting too old now. So like back in the day he could have, but now he's too old. So he needs to train Harry, the chosen one, to take over and to defeat him.
Makes sense.
Okay, the conversation here pivots too, because that's even bringing up some of what Jen's saying. Let's talk about that in the next chapter as well, because that's like there's so much there. But this is another interesting line because the conversation pivots. It says, Narcissa looked up at him, her face eloquent with despair. Yes, Severus, I think you are the only one who can help me. I have nowhere else to turn. Lucius is in jail, and she closed her eyes, and 2 large tears seeped from beneath her eyelids. The Dark Lord has forbidden me to speak of it, Narcissa continued, her eyes still closed. He wishes none to know of the plan. It is very secret. But if he has forbidden it, you ought not speak, said Snape at once. The Dark Lord's word is law. What is the plan?
I'm reading ahead to try and see.
Because this is what happens a little bit later. Severus, she whispered, tears sliding down her pale cheeks. My son, my only son. Draco should be proud, said Bellatrix indifferently. The Dark Lord is granting him a great honor. And I will say this for Draco. He isn't shrinking away from his duty. He seems glad of a chance to prove himself, excited at the prospect. Severus, oh Severus, would you help him? Would you look after him? See he comes to no harm? I can try. She flung away her glass. It skidded across the table as she slid off the sofa into a kneeling position at Snape's feet, seizing his hand in both of hers and pressed her lips to it. If you are there to protect him, Severus, will you swear it? Will you make the unbreakable vow? The unbreakable vow? Snape's expression was blank, unreadable. Bellatrix, however, let out a cackle of triumphant laughter. So what is the plan, first of all? We'll talk about the unbreakable vow in a second, but what is this plan? You guys mentioned killing someone, but what does it
I
say
think
that?
that's what it is. It doesn't. I don't think it does. But it does say that if Draco fails, he will be killed. And it does say that nobody has yet succeeded. So it's something multiple people have tried, or a person like Voldemort has tried multiple times to kill Harry. So it feels like the kind of thing that has been attempted before and failed, that if you fail, it ends in death. So that gave me the impression of a duel, a battle of some kind. Again, I'm thinking Harry. I'm thinking this is coming from Voldemort. Voldemort has tried to kill Harry how many times now? Like 5.
Yeah.
And it has never worked. So now Draco is trying to kill Harry. Again, that would be the straight read a little bit. It's a little, but I'm still thinking the curveball might be that it's another teacher. I'm thinking McGonagall or Lupin. More powerful than Harry, less powerful than Snape.
Why would they have to kill them, though?
I don't know. We don't really know enough information. And why would they get so much honor if Draco can do it? Well, if it was Harry, that makes sense, getting a lot of honor. Or maybe after Harry's most recent display, the rest of the Death Eaters actually respect Harry, and they do think that if Draco and Harry fight, Harry will win. So that's why she's legitimately scared. She's saying Draco won't survive. You have to help him. And yeah, that can make sense. Voldemort's like, hey, go kill Harry. You're going to get glory if you do. And now Draco's mom is like, nope, that'll kill him. Snape, help him out.
What is the unbreakable vow, though? And what happens when you break an unbreakable vow?
No, I thought something really bad because it was like the unbreakable vow.
You can't break it. It's unbreakable.
You're so funny.
So, but literally, I'm like, does that mean you literally can't break it? Or it's just that the consequences are so high, it kills you?
Yeah, is it like Liar Liar where you literally can't lie? Right? The
Like
Jim
it's
Carrey movie?
impossible
It's
to?
impossible to lie, or is it that if you do lie, that's something bad is going to happen to you?
I don't know, because it sounds like it's similar
But it
to
was a
a
weird-
secret keeper thing.
Right. And like the way the spell like bound
Bound
their
them. Yeah,
hand
that was cool.
So weird. I don't know.
It is such a weird part, such a fascinating part. What is actually happening there?
And have we seen this before without knowing what it was? Like there were other unbreakable
Yeah.
bonds out there?
Do
Or
you think
vows?
that the unbreakable vow is a good thing or a bad thing?
In a weird way, it feels good because it's another Muggle equivalent.
Yeah.
It's like a pinky promise,
Yeah.
like a little blood oath. You're swearing to somebody. So that feels good. If you say something, you do it. So it's like keeping your word. So like in a weird way, that feels good. That feels healthy. That's normal. But to have magic supporting it is aggressive.
There's a funny note when you guys sent us that picture of the Harry Potter book, like carved out, and then there was chapter title under it. It was chapter.
The veil.
It was about the unbreakable vow.
Whoa.
And so,
I thought
when
it
you guys
was
said that, I was
veil.
like, oh my gosh.
That
It was
is
like the
awesome.
rings in that. And I was like,
With
this
the
is
rings,
it's like
that
a
makes
cool
so
bit
much
of magic,
sense.
but it's like an
I didn't
intense
even-
bit of magic.
That is so funny because I thought it was the unveil, the
Yeah.
something veiled
It looks
chapter.
like it. Yeah. It's not.
Wow.
It was
I
like
didn't see
this
it.
part where they're talking about the unbreakable
That's
vow.
funny.
But
The
maybe we'll figure
unbreakable
more
vow.
about the unbreakable vow. we'll kind of keep this in the back
Well,
of our
obviously,
heads.
there's a chapter now.
So true. We're gonna find out
And
all
it's
about
far
it.
in the book because that's carved out a
True.
lot.
They carved in deep in that little piece of art.
Is there anything?
Can
anything
you like
else in this
cross your
chapter?
fingers when you're doing the break?
Right? Can you plan ahead before you do the unbreakable vow to
That's
like
an interesting point.
block it ahead
Crossing
of
your
time?
fingers so like the
Yep.
little flames that come out don't actually like bind you or
I
something.
feel like the flames would know.
yeah.
But then, yeah. I don't know. That was just so strange. I'm like, is Snape really Snape or is he someone else? Is he
Ooh.
trying to dupe the Dark Lord? And yeah, I'll protect Draco because we're not actually going to do what the Dark Lord wants. That's what I'm.
If it
trying
was
to get at.
Dumbledore, that would make sense because he has vowed to protect all the students anyway. So then he could protect Draco.
That would be funny. Polyjuice just keeps coming back.
I know. It's like the
Not
mask
again,
thing. They're
no.
all just going to keep taking off masks and probably
Like,
just pushing.
what was that? Not double. Mission Impossible.
Yeah. Anything else in this chapter before we go on to the next one? I know.
No, I don't think so. Nothing crazy.
We kind of covered all our bases there.
Yep.
It was good to get some answers.
Yeah. Some answers. This is a good
More
chapter,
questions, but
Yeah.
some answers.
though. Yeah. We'll go on to the next one. Will and won't. Give me a summary of this chapter.
This picture is so funny.
This is just Dumbledore picking up Harry from the Dursleys' house.
Dumbledore picking up Harry from the
Yeah,
Dursleys'
there
house.
wasn't much. It was just packing up, a little bit of excitement, and some funny interactions between Dumbledore and the Dursleys.
Yeah.
And their mead smacking him in the
Yep.
head.
Raise our mead glasses. Is it good to get back into Harry's perspective?
Yes.
It felt like going home.
Yeah, right?
I'm empty.
It's nice. Like the first two chapters, you feel a little disoriented, and then you're back into his perspective, and you're like, it feels home. It feels like this is
Yep.
where we should be.
I don't know. I like the other stuff better because I like to get answers. It's always Harry this and Harry that.
Harry's always in the dark.
Like, I'm sick of Harry.
You even mentioned that before. Like Harry's for you isn't the most likable character. And it's interesting because I'm listening to some of the early podcasts.
I just want to know what happened.
I know. Even in some of the early ones, you were like, Harry is so much better because the movie version of Harry sucks, and the book version
that's
is great.
true.
He's so much funnier, so much better of a friend.
He's more of personality, yes.
but
for sure.
he's a bit moodier. He's a bit more complex in the books. So he's a little bit more non-likable in the last one, which is why a lot of people hate him. But it's weird to get back into his perspective. This is the line that we get. This is a prediction that Danny had a while ago.
Oh, nice.
Though Ministry spokeswizards have hitherto refused even to confirm the existence of such a place, a growing number of wizards in the community believe that Death Eaters are now serving sentences in Azkaban for trespasses and attempting theft. We're attempting to steal a prophecy. The nature of that prophecy is unknown, although speculation is rife that it concerns Harry Potter, the only person to have ever known to have survived the killing curse, and who is also known to have been at the Ministry on the night in question. Some are going so far as to call Potter the Chosen One, believing that the prophecy names him as the only one who will be able to rid us of he who must not be named. Is Harry the Chosen One? The Chosen One motif we always talk about.
Yeah, I think so. The books
Yeah.
are named after him after all.
Yeah, it
So,
would be a curveball if it wasn't.
yeah.
What do you think about the Ministry trying to cover all this kind of stuff up? Because they seem like the Ministry of Magic is
weird.
kind of covering even the Hall of Prophecies. No one
They
knows about the Hall
literally
of
don't know it
Prophecies.
exists.
They don't know
That,
about
like
the-
how?
Yeah.
So like every seer knows that it's a thing. Well, even the seers, do they know when they're giving a real prophecy? Trelawney didn't really know. So if the seers are giving a prophecy and then Dumbledore's receiving it, yeah, Dumbledore is in the know because he's the best. So he's like, oh, yeah, prophecy time. Let me pull out a little crystal ball and capture this prophecy and bring it over to the unspeakables and lock it in a vault forever. But like prophecies are given to somebody. So that somebody has to know what to do with the prophecies, right? Or after the prophecies, is there a prophecy elf who just poofs out of nowhere like, hey, you've just witnessed a prophecy. Please come with me while we deposit this in the vault of prophecies. Just like, how can there be an entire room with just like towers of these prophecies and nobody knows it exists. It just feels a little funny. But maybe that makes sense. Or they just started wiping people's memories because it was too dangerous to have that knowledge out there. Yeah, weird. I did not think that people weren't going to know about it.
You didn't. What?
Yeah, double negative, sloppy. I thought people were going to know about it.
There's a time and a place for double negatives. Come on.
That was not it.
It's all right. It's way better than my sentences. So.
This is another article where it says Rufus Scrimgeour, previously head of the Aura office in the Department of Magical Law Enforcement, has succeeded Cornelius Fudge as Minister for Magic. The appointment has largely been greeted with enthusiasm by the wizarding community. Though rumors of a rift between the new minister and Albus Dumbledore, newly restated Chief Warlock of the Wizengamot, surfaced within hours of Scrimgeour taking office. What is the rift between the two?
I'm not sure there really is one. Fake news. At least that's what I'm hoping, because I like Scrimgeour so far. He seems cool. Did you think this was real? They've got a little
What
rift.
page are you on?
Oh, sorry.
This is
40.
The news article.
Right in
for
the
it.
middle of that news article where it's basically confirming that Fudge and Dumbledore were fighting. Fudge was like, hey, Dumbledore, convince the boy to do something. And then we know that Scrimgeour, he was writing another note to Dumbledore. And we don't know if it was in the same vein as Fudge or if he was writing about something else. This article is making us think, it was probably the same thing that Fudge was writing about. And there's a rift. What's the rift? I don't know. But I hope it's not really a rift. But Dumbledore is now the head Wizengamot guy. It's great. That makes me feel better.
What is
Chief
that?
Warlock. Like right here-ish.
Yeah, but like, what does that mean?
Oh, that's like the whole
When Harry
group of
got
70
tried.
wizards during the trial. That Dumbledore was his like lawyer, but they were the gigantic jury, basically. And now Dumbledore is in the position, I think, that Fudge was in during Harry's trial.
Got it.
So
You got all
justice
that
and
from
order.
this.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's what Danny does. That's what
That's why we love doing the podcast with you, because you got all your notes.
Danny would be
and
so great
timelines
at
and-
fan fiction for all this stuff.
So
Oh gosh, I'm gonna be married to this.
we're gonna be doing fan fiction. We're gonna have Harry Potter room. I'm gonna turn the spare bedroom
It's
into
gonna be Harry Potter in
Harry
the fan
room.
fiction. The first time fan fiction writers.
He's gonna reread
I
this
only have 5 wands
times.
now, but you just wait. Welcome to Diagon Alley.
Oh man. Okay. The ministry leaflet also talks about these creatures called inferi. Inferi, whatever
Yes.
they're pronounced. What are they? What do you think these are?
Let me look.
He has a theory. What page is
It
that?
talks about them. It's
You
like the
call them
last
creatures. Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't think of them as creatures. I just said, what is an inferius? I thought it was like a tool more than a creature.
Okay.
So I thought because it's inferior, like less significant. I thought of shrinking down. You know, just like get small, run around. So they're sneaking around as like a
I
little
love
mini.
the sound effect.
And
Jim
so
Dale, everyone.
so that's what I thought of. Inferi, like it's like a tool that would make you small, maybe.
Like, honey, I
Any
Shrunk the
sighting
Kids.
of an inferius, like almost like you use an inferi to become inferius, and then your Honey I Shrunk the Kids size, you go running around.
Oh, you did hear that. Okay.
But report it immediately. No, it can't be that though, because that's not threatening enough.
I love how your brain works. Just how you process everything. It's fascinating. Anyway.
So Jen, what did you think the inferi were?
Nothing like that. I skipped right over that. I was like, okay,
She was
cool.
merging.
News article. I was merging. Yep.
It's just such a throwaway line. This is the difference between reading and listening. Like Danny is dissecting everything, and Jen
I'm
is just
just
getting the
listening.
story.
Also,
I'm
That's why
reading
Jen
too,
is
and
Jen
this
is
is-
mad at me for this because you're reading too. Jen is mad at me because she's like finishes a chapter and she's like, why can't I go on to the next one? This is stupid. I'm like, wait. Let's
But it's
discuss
good
that.
'cause,
Let's
you know,
dissect every line.
You
in
just
this
finished
chapter.
today. We're gonna keep reading
Meanwhile, it takes
tonight.
Danny
Danny-
like 2 hours to get through
I
like a
know.
page,
So true.
dissecting every little part of it. I love it.
Because he wants to beat me at these theories. It's all a competition. Even
Exactly.
though it's not. But it is to
It
me.
is in your mind, yeah.
Extra defense
You're
at
like putting this
Hogwarts.
on Danny. Danny thinks this is all the competition, and in her Jen's
I'm
mind,
like,
she's
we're a
like,
team.
I need
You're
to
like,
get more
no.
predictions than her.
I'm like, oh. So there are extra defensive measures at Hogwarts, including a small task force of Aurors dedicated solely to the protection of Hogwarts School. Enter Tonks. That's my theory. I think she'd be a great candidate to be at Hogwarts. She hasn't been out that long. You know, she already knows Harry. That's a teammate right there.
Yeah.
And we already know Kingsley's busy. Obviously, he'd be a great candidate too. But they're the only Aurors that come to mind at the moment. Would it be cool if it was someone we already knew?
If Tonks is stationed there.
Yeah. And because she's a shapeshifter, she could pretend to be a student. I didn't even think about that. She could like
creepy.
miniaturize herself and be a first year.
Yeah.
She could infurious herself to be a first year.
I want to read Dumbledore's letter because this is like the crux of this. Dear Harry, if it is convenient to you, I shall call at number 4 Privet Drive this coming Friday at 11 p.m. to escort you to the Burrow, where you have been invited to spend the remainder of your school holidays. If you are agreeable, I should also be glad of your assistance in a matter to which I hope to attend on the way to the Burrow. I shall explain this more fully when I see you. Kindly send your answer by return of this owl. Hoping to see you this Friday, I am, yours most sincerely, Albus Dumbledore. What do you think of this letter?
I am.
So refreshing.
In what way?
It was just like communication, an open line of communication between Dumbledore and Harry, which we haven't seen in a while.
He did say that he apologized. Remember in the last
Yeah.
book?
He
So
felt
it
bad
is
for keeping
nice
Harry
that
in the
he's
dark.
Keeping to his word.
But even Harry didn't think he was going to.
You didn't think he was going to.
No, but Harry was literally so skeptical he didn't even pack his bags.
You didn't think.
No, I definitely did. I read that letter and I was like, he's coming. I was like,
Skeptical.
at literally 11 on the dot,
Hello.
he's going to show up. But Harry didn't believe Dumbledore because he didn't feel like Dumbledore was coming through for him in the past, probably. And well, maybe. But for whatever reason, Harry did not take it seriously. He didn't tell the Dursleys. He didn't pack his bag. And he really didn't, he couldn't bear the thought of getting his hopes up and then having them dashed to pieces.
I feel like he didn't want it.
He was afraid to like get excited about it.
What are you talking about? You didn't want to want it.
He was afraid. What did I say?
No, that's a good thing that you said, but I just explain that to me more.
He didn't want it because what you were saying, he didn't want to get his hopes up so that
Yeah.
it would be like
Yeah.
dashed if he didn't show up.
Yeah, it's the hope that kills.
Because he kept reading the letter, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Reading it
that
over and over.
That
Yep.
showed that he had the hope, but he wasn't going to do anything about
Yeah,
it.
that's exactly how I act in certain things. That's the phrase in English football or English soccer, but that they have. It's the hope that kills. That you don't get your hopes up for a team because as soon as you get your hopes up, your team loses and then all your hopes are dashed. And the more that you hope in something, the more that you can get disappointed. And that's how I
The
live my
greater the
life.
hope, the greater the disappointment.
That is how I live my life. Have as little hope as possible so you don't get disappointed. I'm just kidding.
There's a little truth in every just kidding.
It is a refreshing letter though.
He has really nice handwriting.
Is it
Yep.
True.
I wish you wrote our envelopes.
So true. Also, something else I've been saying for a long time. On page 42, they were talking about protecting your home and family against dark forces. They're like, also agree on security questions with close friends because there could be Death Eaters masquerading with polyjuice. I'm like, they should have been doing this books and books ago. As soon as they discovered polyjuice, they should have been like, all right, secret handshake and code words. So I'm glad that's finally a thing. And I really hope they implement it because it's the only way we can actually trust people now with polyjuice all over the place.
Yep.
And whatever their secret handshake is, we can start doing too. It's going to be great.
the secret handshake?
Or code words. Or maybe one of their code words becomes the word that's the theme word that John was asking us about.
Maybe we'll see.
A wizard arrives precisely when he means to. That's what I wrote when Dumbledore arrived.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking of Lord of the Rings too, but
Yep.
I was thinking of when Bellatrix was starting to ask Snape all the questions. I was thinking of the line where Theoden goes, "Where was Gondor when the West Wall fell?
Yeah.
Where was Gondor when our enemies closed in around us?" Come on, guys.
Yeah, I remember
Come
that.
on, I've never seen that.
No, I know. It'll be
I know,
bonus
I'm sorry, just
content.
messing with
It's
you.
going to be great.
When we do
do you
Lord
want
of the
from
Rings
me?
and the first time viewers,
I have seen it. And I don't know. So.
Okay, another great line. Dumbledore kind of comes in and he goes, "I don't mean to be rude," he began, in a tone that threatened, this is Vernon says this. And I got to change my voice for this. "I don't mean to be rude," he began, in a tone that threatened rudeness in every syllable. Yet, sadly, accidental rudeness occurs alarmingly often, Dumbledore finished the sentence gravely. "Best to say nothing at all, my dear man.
Yep.
Ah, and this must be Petunia." The kitchen door had opened, and there stood Harry's aunt, wearing rubber gloves and a housecoat over her nightdress, clearly halfway through her usual pre-bedtime wipe down of all kitchen surfaces. Her rather horsey face registered nothing but shock. "Albus Dumbledore," said Dumbledore, when Uncle Vernon failed to effect an introduction. "We have corresponded, of course." Harry thought this an odd way to remind Aunt Petunia that he had once sent her an exploding letter. But Aunt Petunia did not challenge the term. "And this must be your son, Dudley." What do you think of this intro? That Dumbledore kind of steps in, shuts the
So
Dursleys up for a
good.
little bit.
I love the rudeness one. That comment.
Yeah, it was good.
Accidental rudeness. So
I
let's
know.
not go there or something.
So good.
Dumbledore runs the room. It's great.
Yeah,
Always.
he's a
right?
commanding
He's
presence.
just so calm. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't get fired up.
And I love Harry's thought here, too. Harry thought this an odd way of reminding Aunt Petunia that he had once sent her an exploding letter that they had corresponded before.
Also, it probably means nothing, but I thought it was interesting when Dumbledore walked in. The first thing he said to Uncle Vernon, "It was a long time since my last visit. I must say your agapanthus are flourishing." So that's the plant, the lily of the Nile. And I wondered if that was a lily reference or something more specific to Harry's mom. And curious that they were growing that in the garden.
I need to rethink
Well, just for
this.
Dumbledore to call it out.
Yeah.
He literally calls out a random plant on his way in. I mean, it could have just been a throwaway, Dumbledore likes plants and he's just like, "Hey, nice plants there, Vern. Way to be a suburban person." But also, of all the plants to comment on,
Did you Google it or you knew that?
Oh, no, I Googled it. I was like, what's an agapanthus? A lily of the Nile?
Such a detective over here. Researcher.
Yeah, well, I figured that was safe to Google.
I look at the word and I'm like, I can't pronounce that.
He's
That's funny.
Googling it for hours.
So anyway, I'll be keeping out my eye for other
Plants.
Petunia and Lily references.
Well, they're both plant names. so-
Exactly. So I hope to see those plants in the real world, representative of the
You could
people
put
namesakes.
that Lilies and
Good idea. It's a good idea.
This is the next line. As he replaced his wand in his pocket, Harry saw that his hand was blackened and shriveled. It looked as though his flesh had been burned away. "Sir, what happened to your..." That's where it cuts off. What happened to Dumbledore's hand?
It was a battle wound.
But that's a weird one because we didn't see it in the battle. He was hiding it or something. Do you think it was in the battle? Because I was a little skeptical of that.
I don't remember. This was months ago.
No, but I just don't there could have been something subtle, of course, that we just missed or we weren't supposed to notice. Or it could have just been not explicitly said, but just, hey,
was a big
it was a big
war.
battle. Yeah,
Yeah,
stuff
battle,
happens in
that's-
battle. You have some skinned knees, some whatever. But the fact
when
that
you're
it's blackened and shriveled and couldn't be fixed weeks or months later,
So you're saying it is it or it is not?
I'm
It
saying this is an
or it
actually
not.
serious injury. And
From Voldemort.
I think from Voldemort or from something evil. I'm not convinced if it happened that night or sometime since. It's implied that it was that night. And even if it was, I don't think it matters if it was then or another time, but something that can't be fixed. This is bad. Real bad. Because we've never seen weakness from Dumbledore before. We've seen some like indecisiveness or making the
can
wrong
still
choice with
use it.
Harry. Yeah, he can still use it. But I imagine not as well as he used to. And we know he's not as quick as he used to because that's what it said. But I don't like to see Dumbledore hurting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It does make you nervous. If Dumbledore is hurting, what else is going on? Are there going to be a lot of cracks in the wall or something like that? You know. A few other lines. We're almost done with this one. This is, in the main, fairly straightforward. Dumbledore went on. You add a reasonable amount of gold to your account at Gringotts, and you inherit all of Sirius's personal possessions. The slightly problematic part of the legacy. His godfather's dead, said Uncle Vernon loudly from the sofa. Dumbledore and Harry both turned to look at him. A glass of mead was now knocking quite insistently on the side of Vernon's head. He attempted to beat it away. He's dead? His godfather? Yes, said Dumbledore. He did not ask Harry why he had not confided in the Dursleys. Our problem, he continued to Harry, as if there had been no interruption, is that Sirius also left you number 12 Grimmauld Place. And then it kind of goes on a little bit. He goes, but how are you going to find out if I'm allowed to own it? Fortunately, said Dumbledore, there is a simple test. He placed his empty glass on the small table beside his chair. But before he could do anything else, Uncle Vernon shouted, will you get these ruddy things off us? Harry looked around. All three of the Dursleys were cowering with their arms over their head as their glasses bounced up and down on their skulls, the contents flying everywhere. You see, Dumbledore said, turning back to Harry and again, speaking as though Uncle Vernon had not uttered, if you had indeed inherited... this goes on. I put a little da-da-da. If you had indeed inherited the house, you have also inherited... He flicked his wand for a fifth time. There was a loud crack and a house elf appeared, with a snout for a nose, giant bat ears and enormous bloodshot eyes, crouching on the Dursleys' shag carpet and covered in grimy rags. So a few things. This image is great. I love that the mead cups are just knocking on their heads. But how is Dumbledore just able to summon creature like this? Does Dumbledore own creature? It was a weird question.
I don't think he could own creature.
But how does he just like snap his wand?
I'm curious too. And the same thing later with Harry's bags and like other stuff. He's like just sending things away. Like, how do you do that? That's pretty advanced.
Yeah.
It's a thing, right?
I
They don't
don't-
really treat them as like...
I took this to
independent.
mean he called to creature and creature came by free will out of fear of Dumbledore, maybe the same way Peeves only listens to Dumbledore because Dumbledore's just got power. So when Dumbledore tells you to do something, you do it. So Dumbledore says, hey, I'm going to send you some little magical signal. And when I do, you show up or else.
Peeves only listens to the Bloody Baron.
Oh, wow. It's so great.
I don't think Dumbledore and Peeves interact all that much.
Yeah,
to be
you're right.
honest.
I don't think we've seen them interact, but in my head, I was thinking he threatened him one time. Or maybe I'm thinking McGonagall, actually. But yeah, that's a good point. But I feel like, can Dumbledore just apparate somebody to himself? That feels intense.
But Harry, you believe that Harry owns creature now, correct?
I think there's a 60% chance that's the way it happened.
Okay.
And there's a 40% chance that Bellatrix got to him first and said, if Harry comes pretending you're his, play along.
But do you think Dumbledore would be that? Do you think that's why Dumbledore snapped his wand? Do you think creature was in Dumbledore's possession the minute everything happened? Would Dumbledore be this thick to not let this happen again, where creature
Betrays them again? I sure hope not. But I don't know, because I'm still curious why creature's around. Like, is letting him into Hogwarts really a good idea right now? It seems like a terrible idea, actually. So Dumbledore suggesting it feels so strange. I'm like, why is that better? If Harry's at Hogwarts, let creatures stay where he is in 12 Grimmauld. He's not doing anyone any harm there. He can at least keep it from getting dusty and whatever. So I don't understand why. What do you think, Jen? Is this a good idea?
I don't know what else you would do with him though.
Yeah. What do? Got to do something.
Yeah.
Because he'll just go to Bellatrix and share all the Order of the Phoenix, which is what Dumbledore was saying.
Was
I guess
his
he's in
crime
closer
worthy of
proximity.
death?
Yeah. He's like at Hogwarts, which is closer to Dumbledore, closer to people that can, I don't know, watch over him maybe.
I would, yeah.
And I still don't fully understand a house elf's ability to betray, what he's supposed to do. And whether or not Dobby did.
I know,
So it's again, if he's in Hogwarts and he literally cannot betray his destiny, then that's one thing. But I'm still afraid he could. He could do what Winky did and kind of resist or get a little bit creative about things. And if he does, then he could betray them in some intense ways if he's getting the inside scoop at Hogwarts. So I don't like it.
Yeah. This is kind of the most important part of this chapter. Or maybe not the most important, but like the line that hits the hardest, I think. Now, as you already know, the wizard called Lord Voldemort has returned to this country. The wizarding community is currently in a state of open warfare. Harry, whom Lord Voldemort has already attempted to kill on numerous occasions, is in even greater danger now than the day when I left him upon your doorstep 15 years ago, with a letter explaining about his parents' murder and expressing the hope that you would care for him as though he were your own. Dumbledore paused, and although his voice remained light and calm, he gave no obvious sign of anger. Harry felt a kind of chill emanating from him and noticed that the Dursleys drew very slightly closer together. You did not do as I asked. You have never treated Harry as a son. He has known nothing but neglect and often cruelty at your hands. The best that can be said is that he has at least escaped the appalling damage you have inflicted upon the unfortunate boy sitting between you. What do you think about this line?
Making Dudley the victim. It's interesting. Not how I viewed him. A little bit. But I like that he's calling him out.
Yeah,
He's
seriously.
being so direct.
Yeah.
Sticking up for Harry.
Do you, does this make you pity Dudley at all?
Yeah,
You
definitely.
feel bad for him?
Because Dumbledore is so good at this stuff.
Yeah.
If Dumbledore is saying Dudley is a victim, that just confirms that the Dursleys are the bad ones in this scenario.
Yeah.
And there's still hope for Dudley being a wizard, So
Yeah. Maybe.
it's in his blood.
But then, so this is another line that happens after this. None of the Dursleys said anything. Dudley was frowning slightly, as though he was still trying to work out trying to work out when he had ever been mistreated. Uncle Vernon looked as though he had something stuck in his throat. Aunt Petunia, however, was oddly flushed. Why is Aunt Petunia oddly flushed? Is she just like aghast that Dumbledore would say that she's treating her son with mistreatment?
No, I think she feels guilty.
That
I
she
think
treated-
she knows she was cruel and never thought anyone would hold her accountable. A letter is relatively easy to ignore, but this is the first time Dumbledore's been back.
Yeah.
So I think now it's hitting her a little bit. But there's more to her story we still don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what it means, but she feels bad. I think she's embarrassed. Did you get that? That was a nod affirmtive for mixed with a burp for anyone listening.
Yeah, I think so. Because when you're confronted with something,
Which in a weird way made me like her a little bit. Not like her, but I was just
Yeah.
like,
She actually
okay.
feels responsibility.
She feels something.
Vernon, on the other hand, you're almost like everything, all this stems from Vernon.
Yeah. Yep.
but it's coming from her too, probably.
Yeah.
Because she wanted nothing to do with this wizarding world. And then it makes me think of what Lily might have said to Petunia. If anything ever happens to us, or I don't know, maybe that's what like plays in her mind.
Yep.
But now, Harry, let's step into the night and pursue that flighty temptress adventure.
What a line. What a line.
Where are they going? What are they doing?
I don't know, but it actually feels like an adventure.
Yeah.
This.
Harry's bringing his invisibility cloak and everything. Ooh, it's
Front
awesome.
cover of the book. I know, yeah, he's bringing his invisibility cloak, yeah.
And this is the first time Dumbledore is bringing Harry on a field trip. So
There's some kind of trust that's building between the two.
that's great. I'm happy
Yeah.
to see it.
Yeah.
He's got to learn everything.
Yeah, you're right.
I know.
How's he going to be headmaster?
Jenn's
You know,
theory.
he's really got to learn it all.
Headmaster in a 7th year. That's the next book.
Yeah.
Is there anything else in this chapter? Yeah, everyone is just.
I don't
We have such gas right now.
so.
They are loving us, listening.
Trying to hide it.
I'm curious if he actually made it so Uncle Vernon couldn't speak, because like as though he struck him dumb. I'm curious if he did. I also like that Dumbledore was humming quietly.
Yeah.
Curious what he
When
was
he came
humming.
down.
But again, music, a power that goes beyond any
Yeah,
magic
exactly.
we teach here. And I'm like, What's on Dumbledore's little Spotify playlist, you know?
You should create one.
That's a good idea. A Dumbledore playlist.
I'm sure there's
What would be
already
on there.
Yeah,
there's gotta be
100%,
that, right?
Yeah, 100% of
He's like, I
playlists
listen
out
to
there.
it every day.
It's like my favorite playlist, guys.
I don't know why my head went to like deep house music or something.
Ooh,
but
that's a good question. Who out of all the characters so far would create the best playlist on Spotify or Apple Music?
Thank you.
Who's got the best taste in music out of everyone that we've met so far?
Lee
That's
Jordan.
subjective because
Lee Jordan. Ooh.
You know what? He's got great music for sure.
it is subjective. Oh my
this is
gosh.
subjective because what do you like to listen to?
That's true.
Yeah,
I would
for
listen
sure.
to Luna's playlist big time.
Luna's playlist would be like artists you have never heard of in your life. Like
That are
not
good,
just
yeah.
like deep cut indie artists.
Absolutely.
Like her friends that are like still good musicians. I feel like Ron could create a good playlist.
I was thinking
Yeah.
about
Fun.
it.
Yeah,
Hermione
he
would
could
be
DJ on the weekends.
classical music,
yeah,
and I don't like
Hermione,
that.
I would
Yeah.
kind of like it, but Hermione's would be like you need it on a specific day.
What would Harry's be? I feel like it's everything, like rap mixed with like
I don't
moody,
know.
like
Depends on the
emo.
book.
That's
I was
so
gonna say.
true.
Like Phoebe Bridgers on his sad days, and
Nice.
I don't know who that is.
people call her depressed Taylor Swift.
Nice.
Oh, of course you know. Of
She's
her.
great, one of my favorites.
Yeah. Cry me a river. Whoa.
like
That's
JT
his
right
breakup
now?
playlist.
No, like that's what he does when he listens to these songs.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But it was good because it was a song title or a song lyric.
Yep.
I thought it was funny.
I feel like Fred and George would be
We
pretty
laughed.
good. They would have classic stuff.
Yeah, Fred and George would be good. Lee Jordan, I think, would be a great playlist person.
I feel like he would just have like one-liners in his songs.
Lots of one-liners.
Lee Jordan would be just a great radio host. That's what he should do.
Yeah.
When he graduates, just go like start a radio station somewhere, you know?
What about Charlie?
fantastic
Charlie.
at
Ooh, he's
Charlotte.
just cool.
Just
He's
cool.
so cool.
Wait, that was Bill or Charlie?
I don't know.
Bill,
I think that was
yeah.
Bill. I think
But
Bill
honestly,
was
both of
whatever.
them are cool, all the same.
No, Charlie is a Weasley.
No, he's
You
just the
nailed it.
other brother who works with dragons.
The lesser cool
he
one, I
listens,
guess.
He listens to like metal for sure.
Yeah, okay, the dragon one. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But then the one with the earring is Bill,
Bill. Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Someone
Gringotts.
says, they
Gringotts,
picture Arthur
that's
listening
right.
to Sinatra or Dean Martin.
Wow.
Wait,
nice. Arthur Weasley.
Or
Oh,
he's
yeah,
listening
yeah.
to
I
like
can
Elvis
see
trying to
that.
figure out what the Muggles are listening to.
Oh yeah. Nice.
What do you think Dumbledore would listen to?
That's what I just can't
great
get.
I was just
Yeah.
laughing because I feel like he would make himself laugh trying to listen to like the new upcoming music. To, like, be in with the kids.
I feel like it's just like random like droplets of the rain mixed
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
soundscapes.
wind and the leaves.
Yeah.
What is it? Soundscapes.
Soundscapes,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
100%.
picturing that like the office where Gabe says something like that and he's being super weird. He's like, I create soundscapes where I take a single moment in time and spread it out to infinity. And that's like, like something like that is what Dumbledore would listen to.
But he could actually do that with magic.
With magic, he would actually do it. Whoa.
That's so great. I don't know what playlist Dumbledore is creating, but I
What
would
does
listen
Ginny
to him.
listen to?
Ooh, Ginny
She's got good taste in
has
music.
a great taste in
Yeah.
music. Yeah.
Maroon 5.
I think she has better taste than that.
Back in the day.
Back in the day, yeah.
like
Yeah.
songs about Jane.
She grew out of it, by
Yeah.
this book probably, but
The first 2 CDs were good.
hey, I've never grown out of it. It's fine, but
John Mayer.
I feel like Ginny's
Oh, yeah,
like an
respect.
original Swiftie. Like Taylor Swift in the country music era.
Okay, so that gets applauded and mine gets booed.
yeah. Oh, Taylor Swift.
Maroon 5.
That is so typical girl.
That's great.
Anyway, any other
Jonas
points in this
Brothers.
last chapter? We can talk about playlists for the entire night, but any
I
last
keep
little
looking at
things?
Horace. Gotta stop.
The next chapter, I know.
I know.
You're
I
allowed
don't
to
know.
read it.
Not yet. Not till we
My
conclude. Horace is
discuss any of that on this
sluggy
podcast.
guy.
Good thing
Who is
you're
he?
disciplined.
Who is this man?
I don't think there was
It
anything
ain't
else from the
me.
chapter.
I don't hear like actual words. I'm just hearing your voice.
Don't worry, he'll probably
Just crop me.
crop
it.
Crap it.
No one wants
All
to
right.
hear my nonsense.
Let's go through favorites real quick. Favorite character, favorite moment, and hot tamale. Who wins the house cup? Who wins the hot tamale? What is your favorite moment?
1, 2, 3, 4.
I like Dumbledore. I love the lines he does at. Oh yeah, because I like to go first. I forgot.
He was about to have a panic.
He can't not talk, but there can't be silence. Dumbledore with his lines to the Dursleys was great.
It's a great moment. Also, someone has just said that on Dumbledore's chocolate frog card, it says that he listens to chamber music.
What is that?
No way. I totally missed that.
I guess that's
Wait, is that like the
He's so
echoey
mad.
choir music? No, I'm excited. This is like
Yeah.
it's bonus content.
I don't
Is that
know.
like
That
echoey
sounds-
choir music or like
Yeah, I
something
think so.
like
Someone,
like
can
chambering
you
of monks
can
or
we
something?
Google it so we
Like,
can
I'm
hear
looking
it?
it up. I don't really
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
but
Can he send us a
Gregorian
link
chants.
to like what that sounds like?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is that, Calvin or something?
That is Ask the 8 Ball.
Pass the 8 ball. Nicely
Like
done. All
dedicated
right.
fans.
So Dumbledore,
For the
Wait,
house cup.
So
favorite.
House Cup favorite character is Dumbledore.
I just
and
like
favorite
those.
moment when he's knocking them in the head.
Oh, that's good. And then the rude comments, so good. But the knocking in the head is my favorite because it's like he forgot that it was still knocking on
Yeah.
their heads. Oh, I'm so sorry. But he knew.
Yeah, he knew. He's fake forgetting. Who's your hot tamale?
Snape.
Oh, wow. Whoa.
She's going for the grease ball.
Well, it's better than.
This is not good.
To the grease.
Are we
good
progressing or regressing?
I don't know either.
Yeah, there weren't that many characters involved. But yeah, I like your house cup and your moments, the Dursleys. Hot tamale's a tough one.
Bellatrix.
You know what? By the very end, I liked
Sissy.
the moment where Snape said, I'm going to do an unbreakable vow right now. And Bellatrix seemed stunned by that. So I liked that moment. That felt like hot tamale energy. But it, I feel like I might have to give it to Snape for that moment of like Bellatrix was like, you're not gonna whatever, and then boom. But I also feel like we need to shout out that poor fox. Especially if that fox was an
my
animagus
Patronus.
form person trying to spy and got killed, then extra raise a glass for that fox. But either way,
thing.
don't be killing foxes. Not cool. But yeah.
So remember when I talked about that sexual tension that
Between Bellatrix and Voldemort?
there was this weird funny line that everyone kind of notices in this section where let me actually find it real quick. Okay, so she says this.
Aggressive page flipping.
Snape goes, "Have you discussed this matter with the Dark Lord?" asks Snape. And Bellatrix says this.
Ooh.
I am asking you, Snape. That line, lately we, people are filling in the blanks. You're going, what were you lately doing with the Dark Lord? Because she says, lately we, what's been going on between the two of you?
Getting down and dirty.
So she could be a little hot tamale. Wait, Danny, did you answer your favorite moment too?
Yeah, I think my favorite moment was Jen's with the Dursleys, Dumbledore, but the close second was the moment with Snape and the unbreakable vow. That because it felt like it stuck it to Bellatrix somehow, where then Bellatrix was like, "Oh, whoa," and for whatever reason in that moment, I was like, "All right, nice, unbreakable vows." Even if it's for bad things, I kind of respect the
commitment to
the
it.
commitment, the honesty, the vow part of it, you know?
Yeah.
The vow part of it.
The vow. I'm going totally different. Kind of. I'm choosing Dumbledore,
nice.
but he was my hot tamale. He was
Respect.
spicy in a mild way. Mild spicy.
Mild salsa.
Mild
Your
spice.
kind of way.
That's how I can.
Yep.
I was going to say something that was not going to be taken well. Anyway, keep it in my head. And then
Interesting.
I liked Narcissa. I thought she was fascinating. That she would go behind Voldemort's back for the love of her son.
Yep.
That was kind of, I don't know, just different. I like that. And then
So true.
Favorite
You're
moment.
right.
Dumbledore with his lines for the Dursleys was fantastic.
There's a lot of like just a few characters in these chapters, but you get more depth from them in like in a shockingly small amount of space, which I think is fantastic. Like Dumbledore, you even get more depth into.
Yep.
I love his commanding presence, and he's just even keeled and calm the whole time. Now, like even though his tone of voice doesn't change, the Dursleys like get closer together because they know they're gonna get burned in a second by him. But he still does it with a calm expression. Like it's not the inflections of his voice that matter. It's like the truth that he's actually saying, and I love that so much. And same thing with like Narcissa. You kind of have pity on her this chapter. She's like at her wit's end. She doesn't know what the heck is going on. You feel bad for people on the dark side. You feel bad for people on the good side. You have sympathy and pity for everyone, but you don't know.
She's crazy.
I know you don't know if some people are good or bad, and that's like some great chapters here. I would probably say my house cup, probably Dumbledore. I like just his commanding presence when he comes into the room. I think it's fantastic. Hot tamale is Narcissa. I'm going Narcissa for the hot tamale. Just because I like her when she's like stepping in, and even like Bellatrix is like, she's like hardcore, great wizard. And Narcissa just shuts her down. She's like, there's nothing I wouldn't do to protect my son. Yeah. She's just got a good presence. A little hot tamale word here. She's a little hot tamale. And I think my favorite moment is probably the same as you guys. The glass is knocking. And I love the way Dumbledore says that line. He's known nothing but neglect. And kind of just like confronts them on the wrong that they've done. And I think that's just a really powerful moment in the book, I think. So that's mine. Anyway, thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. That's a quick ending, but
No, yeah.
Bow.
until next time.
You know what else I was thinking? When you're apparating, the sound of the pop, I'm equating to... I can't help it. I'm equating it to like, you know when you jump off something and you could land flat-footed and make it like a thud?
Yeah,
or you could
yeah.
land like a cat
Like
on
in
your
water.
toes and roll and it's quiet. I think it's like that. Like however much effort you put in.
Are you doing a pencil dive or a belly flop?
Yep. Because when Creature came, it was a loud pop. It specifically said loud. Almost like he was resisting. He's just like flopping in. Like, yeah, I'm here. Cool. But when you're sly, cat-like, sneaking, you can make it quieter if you want.
I like
I
mine
like that
better.
theory.